The planet Haranes was once full of life. Tall towers stood proud, the markets were busy, and ships came and went daily. Many different alien races lived there: farmers, workers, families. They had built this colony together. It was a new hope, but that was a long time ago. Now, the towers were broken. The markets were empty. The sky was dark and full of dust. The sun rarely showed itself. Storms came every few days, blowing sand and fear across the land. The people of Haranes were trapped. There was no way off the planet. Pirates blocked the skies, and the Galactic Union had stopped sending help. First, the food ships slowed down. Then the medical teams stopped arriving. Then the communication lines went silent. The people had sent hundreds of distress calls. No one answered. Many gave up. Some died waiting. The strong tried to help the weak, but they too were falling. It had been 92 days since the last outside contact. In one of the ruined buildings, a young alien girl named Lyra sat beside her sick brother. His breathing was slow. She held his hand tightly, whispering songs from their childhood. Outside her friend Kale, a tall alien with gray skin and tired eyes, adjusted an old radio. It was the last working device they had. Every day he tried to send a signal, and every day he heard nothing but silence. "Try again," Lyra whispered from inside. Kale sighed. "I've tried so many times. No one's coming." "Try one more," she said, her voice shaking. "Please." Kale pressed the button again. "This is Haranes' colony. We are still alive. We are hungry. We are sick. Please. Anyone. Please." He let go. Static. Then something changed. The radio popped. A voice cut through the silence. "This is Earth Command. Repeat Earth Command. We received your signal. Help is coming." Kale's eyes widened. He froze. Lyra looked at him from the doorway. "Did you hear that?" Kale slowly nodded. "Humans. Earth. For a long time, Earth had stayed away from galactic politics. Other species called them too emotional, too violent, or too proud. But humans were known for one thing: when they made a promise, they kept it. And when they chose to act, they went all in. Above the clouds, a small Terran dropship was flying fast through pirate-controlled space. Inside, Commander Reed, a tall man in black armor, looked at the planet below. He had read the reports. Haranes was left behind. The Union had given up. No other race had answered the call, but Earth had. A voice came from the pilot. "Sir, we sure about this? It's not our fight." Reed didn't blink. They were left to die. Not anymore. The ship broke through the sky and flew low, heading straight for the ruined capital of Haran. His down on the surface. People stared at the sky. A fire streaked through the clouds. The sound of engines shook the buildings. "Is that them?" Lyra asked, holding her brother. Kale shielded his eyes. "It's a human ship." The dropship landed in the center of the colony. Dust flew in every direction. People gathered, unsure, afraid. Some thought it was a trick. Others didn't believe it at all. The ramp lowered slowly. 5 humans stepped out, wearing sleek black armor with the Earth emblem on their chests. One carried a medical kit. Another held food crates. And at the front stood Commander Reed. He looked around at the silent crowd. His voice was clear and strong. "We heard your call. We're here to help." Still, no one moved. A tall alien elder stepped forward. "Why?" The elder asked. "Why would humans come when no one else did? What do you want from us?" Reed looked at the children hiding behind ruins. He saw the sick, the hungry, the scared. "We don't want anything," Reed said. "We just don't. Leave people behind." There was silence. Then a small voice, Lyra's. "Can you help my brother?" Reed turned to her. He walked forward slowly and knelt beside the sick boy. "We'll do everything we can." His team moved quickly. Medical packs opened. Food was shared. A light of hope began to shine. Cale watched it all, tears in his eyes. They really came. He whispered, "Humans really came." And in that broken place, full of silence and dust, something new began to grow. Trust. Commander. Reed stood under the broken archway of what used to be Harani's Central Hospital. Now it was just a shell, no power, no medicine, and no doctors left. His boots crunched over shattered glass as he stepped through the doorway, his eyes scanning the darkness. Behind him. His team moved fast. Corporal Lane, the field medic, began setting up emergency beds with auto healers. Sergeant Cole unloaded crates filled with protein rations and clean water. Private Aaron, the youngest, kept his rifle ready. The fifth human, Technician Vale, started fixing a nearby power node. These weren't soldiers of war. They were Earth's first responders, trained not just to fight, but to protect, repair, and restore. Outside the ruins, dozens of starving colonists stood in silence. They didn't come closer, not yet. Not fully trusting. Cale, standing near the crowd, raised his voice. They brought supplies. They brought help. Some murmurs of disbelief spread. Why would humans care? Someone whispered, "Maybe they want to claim the planet," another said. But then, Lyra stepped forward. Her brother, still weak, was now lying on a human med bed, breathing easier than he had in days. She looked at the crowd and shouted, "My brother would be dead, but they helped. They came for us." Silence again. Then slowly, the people began to move. One by one, they stepped forward, not with cheers or celebration, but with cautious hope. Mothers brought sick children. Elders approached with shaking hands. A wounded farmer asked for water. The humans gave without question. Reed stood near a broken wall, arms crossed, watching the people. Cale approached him carefully. "We thought no one was coming," Cale said. Reed didn't look at him. "We almost didn't." Cale frowned. "Why did you?" Reed took a deep breath. "Back on Earth, there's an old saying. You don't walk away from someone who's drowning. We may be far from home, but you called for help, and Earth answers." Cale looked down. "The others didn't." "I know," Reed said. "And that's something they'll have to live with." Inside the ruined hospital, the power came back to life. Lights flickered on. Water filters hummed. For the first time in months, clean water began to flow from one of the old dispensers. Children rushed to it. Adults fell to their knees. Technician Vale wiped her forehead. "That's one system back online." Corporal Lane nodded. "We'll stabilize the sick first, then look at sanitation." Sergeant Cole looked up from his rifle. "And if the pirates show up again?" Reed's face turned hard. "Then they'll find out what happens when you mess with humanity's word." Hours later, a message was sent from Haranis. To Earth Command from Harani's relief team status. Survivors found. Assistance in progress. Situation critical but stable. Request permission to remain and expand support zone. Note, locals show signs of trust. Earth flag raised. The message went quiet. On Earth, inside a dark command room, generals and diplomats stared at the screen. One leaned forward. "We were supposed to just confirm distress." Another spoke. "They've made contact, built trust, and secured a colony. Alone." Silence. Then the highest-ranking admiral stood. "Let them stay. And send backup." Back on Haranis, the night fell. Fires burned in steel barrels. Children slept under blankets for the first time in weeks. The wind still howled, but now it carried the sound of human generators and life returning. Reed sat by. A wall, cleaning his sidearm. Kale sat beside him. "You're not like the stories," Kale said. "They say humans are violent, dangerous." Reed smiled slightly. "We can be. Then why help us?" Reed looked at the stars, because sometimes being dangerous is only good when you use it to protect others. Kale nodded slowly. "You've given us something no one else did. What's that?" Reed asked. "Hope." And as the stars above Haranes twinkled in the black sky, a human banner fluttered in the wind, small, simple, and unshaken. Earth had answered the call, and it wasn't leaving. Asterisk. 3 days had passed since the humans arrived on Haranes. The sick were healing. The water ran clean. Children were smiling again. Some colonists even began repairing old homes using tools provided by the Terran team. But peace never lasted long. On a forgotten world far above the surface, hidden in the shadows of a broken moon, something stirred. A pirate scout ship. The pirates who once looted Haranes had noticed the changes. New power signals. Stronger heat signatures. Activity. Life. And something else. Terran energy patterns inside the ship. A pirate leader growled. "Humans? Here?" Another pirate hissed. "They're rebuilding. Earth is planting its flag." The leader slammed a clawed fist into the control panel. "Then we take back what's ours before they bring more." He sent a message. Within hours, 3 pirate raider ships dropped out of orbit and entered Haranes' sky, burning fast and loud on the ground. The colonists looked up in terror. "Ships!" Someone screamed. "Pirates!" another cried. "They've returned." Panic spread like wildfire. Commander Reed heard the alarms. His team was already in motion. "Positions!" He shouted. Sergeant Cole grabbed the heavy turret and ran toward the front barricade. Technician Vale activated the base's new shields, only 40% powered, but better than nothing. Corporal Lane began moving non-combatants underground into the medical bunker. Reed stood tall in the center of the defense line, his voice firm and calm. "Civilians to shelter. Fighters with me. We hold the line." Kale approached, holding a scavenged rifle. "I'm with you." Reed looked at him. "You sure?" Kale nodded. "You stood for us. Now I stand with you." The pirate ships came low, roaring over rooftops. One dropped raiders strange, armored aliens with glowing weapons. They howled as they charged toward the colony. The humans didn't run. Reed raised his weapon. "Engage." The first wave hit hard. Raiders rushed in with blades and guns. But the humans had set traps, mines hidden under dirt, shock lines on walls, and snipers placed high on rooftops. Boom. Crack. Screams echoed as the front lines exploded. Sergeant Cole fired the turret, cutting down enemy after enemy. "They just keep coming." Private Aaron was hit in the shoulder, but kept firing. "I'm fine." "Keep them back." Reed led a countercharge, pushing the pirates out of the eastern corridor. He moved like a ghost, fast, precise, lethal. Kale was beside him, shocked at how humans fought. Not with rage, but with focus, skill, and silence. They didn't scream. They didn't boast. They acted like shields in human form. One pirate leaped toward Lyra, who had been helping move supplies. She froze in fear. Before the pirate could strike, a shadow tackled at mid-air. It was Corporal Lane, her body armor cracked. Her face bruised, but her hand steady on her blade. "You don't touch children," she growled, stabbing the pirate. More explosions rocked the colony. But still, the humans held. Even the colonists, once weak and hopeless, fought beside them now. Alien farmers swung old tools. Young mechanics threw fuel bombs. They weren't warriors, but the humans had lit something in them. Courage. Hours later, the final raider ship tried to lift off, but it didn't make it far. A single missile from Reed's launcher tore through the sky and sent the ship crashing into a distant hill. Silence fell. The smoke drifted. Bodies lay everywhere, most of them pirate. Hiranis still stood. As the survivors gathered. Many were in tears. They had fought. And won. With humans. Reed stood in the center, blood on his armor, smoke rising behind him. Cale walked up, breathing hard. We should have died today. Reed didn't answer right away. He looked at the flag of Earth fluttering above the rebuilt hospital. You didn't, he finally said. Because you weren't alone. Later that night, around fire pits and emergency lights, the colony began to understand something. Earth hadn't come to rescue them. Earth had come to stand with them. There was a difference, and it changed everything. The sun rose slowly over Hiranis, cutting through the smoky air like a soft golden blade. For the first time in months, the light didn't feel harsh or empty. It felt warm. There were still fires to put out, buildings still broken, lives still fragile. But Hiranis had survived. The battle was over, and the humans had won. More importantly, hadn't left. Inside the half-restored hospital, Corporal Lane checked on Lyra's brother. His breathing was stronger now. His skin had color again. He'll live, she said gently. He's a fighter. Lyra wiped her eyes. Because of you. Lane shook her head. Because someone believed he was worth saving. In the hallway, Commander Reed walked with Cale. They passed groups of colonists, some patching walls, others organizing supplies. Everyone moved with purpose now. No one sat in silence anymore. You've changed everything, Cale said quietly. No, Reed replied. You changed everything the moment you stopped waiting to be saved and picked up a weapon. Cale paused. But without you, Reed stopped him. Without us, maybe it would have taken longer, but the will to live was always here. We just helped you remember it. Outside, children drew with pieces of broken chalk on walls. They sketched stars, ships, and humans. One little boy drew a picture of a human soldier with big arms and a smile, holding hands with a tiny alien child. Private Aaron, arm in a sling, chuckled at the image. Guess I've got fans now. Technician Vale fixed a solar generator nearby. She looked up and grinned. That's because you actually smiled yesterday. Aaron blushed. Just once. In the town square, if the cracked plaza could still be called that, Sergeant Cole set up a large speaker system. He connected it to the ship's internal database. Soft music began to play. It was old. Earth music, slow, peaceful, something with strings and a quiet hum. The colonists stopped. Some stared at the strange sounds. Others smiled. A few cried without knowing why. Cale asked, "What is that?" "Something from a better time," Cole replied. "And a reminder that beauty can return even here." Later, they set up a table in the middle of the square. Not for weapons or rations, but for sharing meals. The humans brought protein, bars and stew packs. The colonists brought what little they had: roasted roots, fungal bread, spiced salt meat. It wasn't much, but they all sat and ate together. A young alien woman stood and raised her cup. "To Earth," she said. "The only ones who came?" Others raised their cups too. "To Earth." Reed raised his last. "No, not just Earth. To Hiranis. To all of us standing together." They all drank. That night, under the stars, the humans sat with the people they had once only come to save. Now they were partners, allies, family. Lyra curled up beside her brother near the fire. She whispered, "Maybe we'll go to Earth one day." He smiled weakly. "Do you think they'd let us?" "I think," she said, "they'd carry us if we couldn't walk." Far above the planet, Earth Command received a new message. To Earth Central from Hiranis Relief Team update. Hostile pirates repelled. Colony secure. Locals stable and assisting in defense. Atmosphere of trust growing. Recommend. Permanent. Support station. Back at the base, Reed stood on the edge of the hill overlooking the colony. Cale joined him. "You've given us more than help," Cale said. "You gave us a future." Reed didn't smile, but his voice softened. "No one deserves to be forgotten." Cale looked down at the people rebuilding below. "Do you think the galaxy will remember what Earth did here?" Reed's eyes didn't move. "They won't have a choice." In a world that had once been left to die, laughter now echoed. Hammers hit nails. Children danced. The Earth flag waved not in conquest, but in care. Haranis was no longer abandoned. Daditz was reborn. And at its heart stood humanity. Asterisk. The fires of hope still burned in Haranis. The people were healing. Humans and aliens worked side by side planting food, repairing walls, even painting over the scars of war. But peace rarely lasted, and across the stars, eyes were watching. At the edge of Harani's airspace, 5 ships entered orbit, sleek, polished, and marked with the glowing symbols of the Galactic Union. These were not pirate vessels. These were official, political, powerful. Inside the lead cruiser, an ambassador of the Varelian species, a tall alien with thin silver skin, watched the colony through a holoscreen. "Earth dares to raise its flag," he said coldly. "Over a colony that belongs to the Union." A second official, shorter and more nervous, spoke quietly. "But, sir, the Union abandoned it." The ambassador narrowed his eyes. "That doesn't matter. Control must be reestablished before Earth gains more influence." He sent a message to the surface. On Haranis, the peaceful morning was broken by an alert. Technician Vale stared at the radar. Commander? We've got company." Reed entered the command tent. "Pirates? No. Union fleet. 5 ships. Official mark." Reed's face tightened. "Figures." A moment later, a message played through the speakers. The voice was cold, polished, and dismissive. "This is Ambassador Valic of the Galactic Union. We are here to reclaim and resume control over Haranis. Earth personnel are ordered to withdraw immediately." The colonists gathered near the command post, confused and afraid. Cale looked at Reed. "They came back? Now? After everything?" Reed stood silent for a moment, then spoke into the comms. "This is Commander Reed of Earth's Haranis relief team. The Union may have once had control, but you left." "We didn't. We won't." There was silence. Then another message came, this time private. "Commander Reed," the ambassador said with a sneer, "this world is not worth Earth's wrath. Leave now, and no action will be taken." Reed replied in one sentence. "This world is worth more than you ever saw in it." The Union ships stayed in orbit, threatening but not firing. For now. Reed called a meeting in the center plaza. The humans, the colonists, even the children gathered. They want to take control. Reed said coldly, "After abandoning you." Cale stood. "Then we say no." An old alien farmer raised his cane. "Let them try. We'll stand with Earth." Cheers rose. Even those who once feared humans now saw them as protectors. No, as brothers. "We can't fire first," Sergeant Cole said quietly beside Reed. "But if they land troops—" "They won't," Reed said, "because they know Earth is watching." That evening, something unexpected happened. A second human dropship arrived. It brought food, fresh gear, and a hologram message from Earth's president. The people gathered. Around as the image flickered to life. She stood tall, serious, but her eyes were warm. "To the people of Haranis," she said, "and to the heroes who stood when others turned away, you are not alone. Earth stands with you. This colony is now under Terran protection." Any interference will be seen as an act of hostility. We will not abandon those we've sworn to defend." When the message ended, the plaza roared with cheers. Even the children chanted, "Earth, Earth, Earth." Far above, in the Union cruiser, Ambassador Valek's jaw clenched. He looked at the silent stars, then turned away. "Pull back," he ordered. "We'll deal with Earth another day." Back on the ground, the humans stood quietly. They hadn't fought with guns this time. They had fought with honor. Kale walked up to Reed, smiling. "You didn't fire a shot." Reed finally allowed himself a small smile. Sometimes the strongest message is standing your ground. That night, as the Union ships slowly disappeared into the void, the stars above Haranis looked clearer. Not just because the dust was settling, but because the fear was gone. No one would ever forget who came first. And who stayed. Asterisk. The people of Haranis didn't sleep much that night, not because of fear, but because of something far stronger: pride. They had faced pirates. They had faced hunger. They had faced the silence of a galaxy that turned its back. Now, they had faced the very rulers who once called themselves protectors. This time, Haranis didn't bow. Commander Reed stood alone at the edge of the colony's hilltop. His eyes locked on the sky where the Galactic Union ships had disappeared just hours earlier. He didn't celebrate. He waited. Because sometimes walking away wasn't surrender. It was a setup. At dawn, the signal came. A different fleet had entered the system. Earth's Black Ridge Armada. 20 heavy warships. 5 carrier-class vessels. 1 Titan-class dreadnought, its hull marked with a single line: "We stand where others fall." The people of Haranis stepped outside their homes, eyes wide with awe. These weren't scouts. These weren't volunteers. This was Earth's final word. Kale stared at the sky in shock. "They really sent the fleet?" Reed nodded, his face calm. "The Union won't test us again. But if they do—" Sergeant Cole smiled slightly. "They won't get a second warning." Within the hour, an encrypted galaxy-wide broadcast was sent from Earth's high command. It was short. It was clear. It was unshakable. Earth does not forget. Earth does not abandon. Haranis is under Terran protection. If any power, Union, pirate, or Empire dares threaten this soil again, they will not face one planet. They will face all of humanity. The message shattered silence across thousands of systems. Some leaders panicked. Others grew quiet. But one thing was certain. Earth had spoken. And the galaxy listened. Back on Haranis, things moved quickly. The Black Ridge engineers began reinforcing the colony's outer perimeter. New housing modules were dropped from orbit. Fresh med supplies, building materials, hydro farms, and even learning modules for children were delivered. What was once a forgotten outpost was becoming something new. Something alive. Lyra and her brother walked near the new community garden. The boy was laughing again, chasing a small robotic scout. Kale watched from a distance. "They're smiling." Reed joined him. "They should. They earned it." Kale turned to him. "What happens now?" Reed looked around at the rebuilt homes, the united faces, the Earth and Haranis flags flying side by side. "Now," Reed said, "we build a future. Together." That evening, the people gathered once again in the central square, now clean, with real lights and working speakers. A celebration had begun. There was food, music, children danced. Alien instruments mixed with Earth songs. For once, laughter was louder than fear. Then a voice called out, "Commander Reed, say something." The crowd turned to him. Reed stood on the platform, his black armor reflecting soft firelight. He paused. Then spoke. "You all know what this place was," he began. "Abandoned, silent, broken. But look around you now. Because you chose not to give up, because you believed in each other. And because Earth did something simple, we listened. He looked toward the stars. We don't come to rule. We don't come to conquer. We come to stand. And that's what Earth will keep doing every time the galaxy turns its back on the innocent. He raised his hand slowly. To Haranis, the colony that refused to die. The crowd erupted in cheers. Later, as the fires burned low and the Yesio, music softened. Lyra walked up to Reed. Will we ever be forgotten again? She asked. Reed knelt down beside her. Not while Earth is watching. Far beyond Haranis, in halls of power and empires of silence, a quiet message spread. Earth didn't need permission. It didn't need applause. It only needed a reason. And now the galaxy knew humanity doesn't walk away. It stands, asterisk,